Good morning. David Atkins here. I'm a targeted individual. I've been getting hit with dew pretty hard this morning. They finally let up on me. I'm going to try to make this video. It's called Tactics and Operations of Gangstalking. One thing he makes clear in describing the targets is that the ultimate goal of the groups is destroy the targets. Those who have been stalked by organized citizen groups which are fed lies report that these groups do not destroy targets with great efficiency. That's a lie. Next, let's look at some of the typical operations these groups carry out. They are paraphrased. Once a target has been selected, that target will be studied to ascertain the target's personality type, IQ, and personal history. Targets will be photographed, sometimes openly. Targets are to be kept under surveillance by large groups and will always be followed. However, the stalkers doing the following are rotated, and this makes it difficult for targets to prove they are being followed. Lost dudes cause or terrorist organized stalking groups do more than just follow targets. They perform break-ins, damage property. They have assaulted, sometimes fatally, sometimes some targets. These stalkers also like to stalk children of a target. Firemen and even some police departments are reported as having a history of supporting extremist groups. Lawson describes fire department equipment being used as part of the stalkers' convoys. Lawson reports that the participation of firemen, city workers, and utility workers makes the stalker believe they are doing great community service instead of community crime against innocent people. Lawson learned that the city worker participation sometimes extends as far as tearing up the front road in front of a target's home. This shows the depth of penetration legitimate organizations of these stalkers. Some targets are selected just because they are convenient, reports Lawson. Loners are good convenience targets. Those with a good network of family support are not. Neighbors of the targets are also often persuaded to participate. These neighbors can be intimidated by threats of harassment and of damage to homes and vehicles. Neighbors are plied with appeals to a sense of patriotism. The target is painted as criminals and other types of undesirables. Or the neighbors can be offered things like drugs, repair their homes, free taxi rides, free friendship, money, etc., etc. A major benefit to the stalkers is when they can persuade neighbors to give the stalkers a key to their residence. There's reports that the targets are kept under surveillance around the clock. Stalkers detailed to keep the target under surveillance report the movements of the target by cell phone or two-way radio. Some stalkers will patrol the area to watch out for police, and if a target drives away from the home, will begin to tail the target. That's happening to one of my friends right now every day. Lawson found in some locations keeping a target under surveillance has almost become a sport, and all who know what radio channel the activity is carried out on in can participate. Some targets have become aware of the radio activity and reported to Lawson that they hear a radio bulletin go out as soon as the target turns on their lights in the early morning. Targets who live in apartments can expect stalkers to move in several apartments which adjoin theirs. Stalkers consider it important that their members have access to all apartments in all directions of that target. Stalkers also keep the target's vehicle under surveillance. Stalkers who keep targets under surveillance sometimes set up a system where, example, if the target flushes the toilet, a car will honk every time in synchronicity, or possibly a burst of noise from a power tool or hammering. Targets find that there are suddenly a large number of people coming or going from apartments next door to the target, accompanied by rowdiness enough to hold the attention of the target, but not quite enough for a successful complaint to build management or police. Lawson reports that the stalking groups tell their neighbors that the stalkers are some sort of citizen groups which assist the police and are there to keep track of the target for some legitimate sounding reason. Stalkers use props like case files, including photos of the target, to appear legitimate. A stalker will enter in the target's home or apartment when the target is away, and they have lookouts patrolling the perimeter around the target's residence to watch out for police. In the apartment specifically, building staff are often co-opted by telling lies about the target. Building staff may also be intimidated and cooperate through fear of the stalkers. Pest control and alarm technicians sometimes provide access to the targeted apartments. And I'm gonna stop for a minute. What they used to do to me while I was at work, they would come take something from my apartment and leave the door wide open, or my house, my trailer. And I would get back and the door would be wide open and I'd be missing something. And 2 days later, I'd come back and the door would be open and the thing I'm missing would be set out right in front of me. So yeah, they do all kinds of stuff. Blocking of phone calls by telephone company staff happens routinely. The staffers may believe the target deserves it or for some perk offered by the stalkers. Stalkers put effort in destroying the target's social ties to family and friends. This is made easy by choosing harassment methods which look like the life's normal breaks to outside observers. When the target inevitably describes the harassment, the target is likely to be seen as crazy. Lawson found in some cases more than one member of a family will receive will receive harassment. On the road, stalkers will often surround the traveling target and try to control the target's speed to make it hard for the target to prove this crime. Stalkers doing vehicular harassment will frequently move off and a new group of harassers will take over. Stalkers like to drive around in convoy of 6 to even 30 more vehicles. Sabotage of the target's vehicle happens, including scratching of the paint by a sharp object like a key, slashing the tires, even stealing license plates. Stalkers avoid extremely dangerous sabotage like cutting brake lines, but they do engage in very expensive sabotage like draining of oil or coolant to cause major repair bills and inconvenience. When a target walks in the community, he or she is followed everywhere. The stalkers seem to make a game out of trying to get into places with some restrictions on entry, such as places of employment. Stalker will carry clipboards, wear name badges and lanyards around their neck, or even carry phony police badges. Stalkers use harassment tactics that look minor to passersby. These tactics include noise making near the target, such as clicking ballpoint pens, rattling keys, particularly when standing behind the target. If the target responds, the target can expect more of the same. When a target takes a seat in public, stalkers will sit nearby to deliver noise harassment or to repeatedly tap their feet, sometimes in their target's chairs. The goal is to keep the target uncomfortable constantly. Stalkers work at disrupting both business and personal relationships by character assassination. This can be effective for new relationships. It isn't always successful with people who know the target well. Starting rumors and passing lies at the target's expense is another method reported. Stalkers will pose as customers when the target works directly in public, then make complaints about the target. One example would be where the target is a real estate agent, where bogus customers can take up huge amounts of their target's time without ever making an offer. Yeah. Law enforcement in that area was apparently tied to let's see. Character assassination is complete and has life-destroying consequences. Noise is one of the major means used by the stalkers. The stalkers can use their cars to honk their horns or squeal tires frequently as they pass the stalker's home. Stalkers use access to nearby properties to create noises and to time to target activities, such as the target leaving their home. Stalkers will make up nonsensical reasons to knock on the target's door. In apartment buildings, targets will be subjected to noise from work, like hammering or rapping the walls. The stalkers will work on these activities as long as possible, but avoiding the former basis for a legitimate complaint by the target. The stalkers will sometimes make noise indicating they're moving around in sync with movements of the target. The apartment either below or above the apartment. This requires commercial through-the-wall radar. The stalkers will sometimes leave a nearby apartment in perfect sync with the target leaving the home. Sometimes the stalkers will repeatedly arrive at their own apartment in perfect sync with the target arriving home. From the viewpoint of many targets, it's more likely that ordinary citizens from all age groups and walks of life are harassing us in an organized way, probably based on lies. Some targets have evidence that the police play a role. In one case, someone claiming to be a retired police officer stated on a mainstream talk show about organized stalking that retired officers sometimes make life hell for targets who have done things they don't approve of. The bottom line. Let's see. Many people, including police officers, don't believe that organized stalking because nobody has that much time on their hands. But they know about it. They say they don't believe it. A second put down used by officials, and I'm going to end this, police and doctors mainly, is to tell a target complain about organized stalking. You're not important enough that an organization would spend all this time, energy, and money to harass you. This sounds logical. However, reader, while targets may not be important enough, clearly what is important to have a trained, what is in, what is important is to have a trained corps of people who can control and punish anyone and do so discreetly and deniably. It is this organized nation that is important, not the individual target. And I'm talking about to the dude that said it don't exist. And they do more than that. They do V2K. They do weapons to burn people. I'm sure y'all know any new target, though, man. Take heed to all this stuff I'm saying. And I proofread everything before I speak it on here. I proofread it, so I'm just letting y'all know. You know, I've been a target since 2014, so I know when it's some bullshit and when it's not. Pardon my language. I'm sorry. I apologize for that. But anyway, y'all have a good day. Stay safe. And I love y'all. Until next time, I'm out.